Today we're talking about abstract art. More specifically, this guy, James McNeill Whistler. This is Lowiki Journeys, just, neat stuff I found while on Wikipedia. So I was doing a doodle the other day, just drawing, and it made me think of Jackson Pollock. That he made art to be viewed and made from all angles. He was divisive among art critics at the time, very much like Whistler. He died at 44 in a car accident. He was drunk at the time, 1956. He was also having an affair with Ruth Kligman, an abstract artist who was played by Jennifer Connelly in the movie Pollock from the year 2000, starring Ed Harris. And that led me to the abstract art Wikipedia page. Neat thing on there said, abstract art, a departure from reality and depiction of imagery in art, more than surrealism. I clicked on the history and I got to this magnificent painting. I was like, who did this? The painting is Nocturne in black and gold, The Falling Rocket, by James McNeill Whistler. Born in Massachusetts in 1834. He lived in Russia as a kid for a little bit, where his dad built a railroad, but that's also where he started art lessons. As an adult, he tried to go to church school to be a minister. That didn't last long. Then he went to West Point to try and be a soldier, where he was named Curly and kind of a rebel. He was kicked out by Robert E. Lee in 1854 and then said, you know what, I'm going to be an artist, I guess. And then he went to Baltimore, Maryland, represent, before he left the United States altogether and went to Paris and then London, and he went back and forth between those places his whole life. But at some point he went to Chile, which confused his friends, and he said it had something to do with the war with Spain. Chile and Spain were at war. But it was there he started his moonlight paintings, including Nocturne in black and gold, The Falling Rocket. He credits his friend Frederick Richards Leyland for giving him the name Nocturne.
I say I can't thank you too much for the name Nocturne as a title for my moonlights. You have no idea what an irritation it proves to the critics and consequent pleasure to me.
But even though he liked making critics uneasy, John Ruskin said that the painting was like flinging a pot of paint in the public's face. And so Whistler naturally sued him for libel over this. And this leads us to the Ruskin trial. I just want to share this little exchange that happened during the trial.
What is the subject of the painting?
It is a night piece and represents the fireworks at Cremorne Gardens.
Not a view of Cremorne.
If it were a view of Cremorne, it would certainly bring about nothing but disappointment on part of the beholders. It is an artistic arrangement. That is why I call it a nocturne.
But the basis of the trial was that 200 guineas was too much to ask for this painting. In case you're wondering, 200 guineas in 1877 is about $42,845 today. And although Whistler won, he only won 1 farthing. So I had to look up what a farthing was, and it's apparently 1/4 of a penny. You adjust that for inflation, it'd be about 16 cents today. But you can't talk about Whistler without talking about his famous painting, Whistler's Mother. It has been described as one of the most famous paintings, up there with the Mona Lisa, the Scream, and American Gothic, but I know it as the painting that Rowan Atkinson ruined in the movie Bean from 1997. Great movie if you haven't seen it. And lastly, we got to discuss some of his beef. So he became the president of the Royal Society of British Artists. And while I don't know what the Royal Society does, or the Royal Academy for that matter, Whistler said that the Royal Society should withdraw from the Royal Academy, and this caused a big uproar, so he was kicked out. After this, he went to Venice, but we'll hit pause on that for now. Also during his career, he gave a very famous speech. The gist of it was art for art's sake. But Oscar Wilde was in attendance. And although he mostly praised Whistler, he did disagree with some of it. For instance, poetry was a higher form of art than painting. I'll have to disagree with Oscar on that. But Whistler thought Oscar was mocking him, and this ultimately led to beef. In fact, in The Picture of Dorian Gray, Wilde's famous novel, he based a character off Whistler and had him murdered, similar to the way Eminem murdered the alphabet and others. All right, let's hit play on Venice. So while he was in Venice, he did a bunch of pastels, and these did quite well. In fact, this was the favorite quote I found on the Wikipedia page.
They are not as good as I supposed. They're selling.
And the reason I made this video, pretty much. Well, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more journeys and poems and stories, and the podcast, of course, with some music.